Louis I, also Louis the Great or Louis the Hungarian, was King of Hungary and Croatia from 1342 and King of Poland from 1370. He was the first child of Charles I of Hungary and his wife, Elizabeth of Poland, to survive infancy. A 1338 treaty between his father and Casimir III of Poland, Louis's maternal uncle, confirmed Louis's right to inherit the Kingdom of Poland if his uncle died without a son. In exchange, Louis was obliged to assist his uncle to reoccupy the lands that Poland had lost in previous decades. He bore the title of Duke of Transylvania between 1339 and 1342 but did not administer the province. Louis was of age when succeeded his father in 1342, but his deeply religious mother exerted a powerful influence on him. He inherited a centralized kingdom and a rich treasury from his father. During the first years of his reign, Louis launched a crusade against the Lithuanians and restored royal power in Croatia. His troops defeated a Tatar army, expanding his authority towards the Black Sea. When his brother Andrew, Duke of Calabria, husband of Queen Joanna I of Naples, was assassinated in 1345, Louis accused the Queen of his murder, and punishing her became the principal goal of his foreign policy. He launched two campaigns to the Kingdom of Naples between 1347 and 1350. His troops occupied large territories on both occasions, and Louis adopted the styles of Neapolitan sovereigns, but the Holy See never recognized his claim. Louis's arbitrary acts and atrocities committed by his mercenaries made his rule unpopular in southern Italy. He withdrew all his troops from the Kingdom of Naples in 1351. Like his father, Louis administered Hungary with absolute power and used royal prerogatives to grant privileges to his courtiers. However, he also confirmed the liberties of the Hungarian nobility at the Diet of 1351, emphasizing the equal status of all noblemen. At the same Diet, he introduced an entail system and a uniform rent payable by the peasants to the landowners, and confirmed the right to free movement for all peasants. He waged wars against the Lithuanians, Serbia, and the Golden Horde in the 1350s, restoring the authority of Hungarian monarchs over territories along frontiers that had been lost during previous decades. He forced the Republic of Venice to renounce the Dalmatian towns in 1358. He also made several attempts to expand his suzerainty over the rulers of Bosnia, Moldavia, Wallachia, and parts of Bulgaria and Serbia. These rulers were sometimes willing to yield to him, either under duress or in the hope of support against their internal opponents. But Louis's rule in these regions was only nominal during most of his reign. His attempts to convert his pagan or Orthodox subjects to Catholicism made him unpopular in the Balkan states. Louis established a university in Pecuts in 1367, but it was closed within 2 decades because he did not arrange for sufficient revenues to maintain it. Louis inherited Poland after his uncle's death in 1370. Since he fathered only daughters, he wanted his subjects to acknowledge the right of his daughters to succeed him in both Hungary and Poland. For this purpose, he issued the privilege of Kozice in 1374, spelling out the liberties of Polish noblemen. However, his rule remained unpopular in Poland. In Hungary, he authorized the royal free towns to delegate jurors to the High Court hearing the cases and set up a new High Court. Suffering from a skin disease, Louis became even more religious during the last years of his life. At the beginning of the Western Schism, schism, he acknowledged Pope Urban VI as the legitimate pope. After the pope dethroned Joanna I of Naples and made Louis's distant cousin, Charles of Durazzo, King of Naples, Louis helped Charles occupy the kingdom. In Hungarian historiography, Louis was regarded for centuries as the most powerful Hungarian monarch who ruled over an empire whose shores were washed by 3 seas. Childhood and youth. Born on 5 March 1326, Louis was the third son of Charles I of Hungary and his wife, Elizabeth of Poland. He was named for his father's uncle, Louis, Bishop of Toulouse, canonized in 1317. The firstborn son of his parents, Charles, died before Louis was born. Louis became his father's heir after the death of his brother Ladislaus in 1329. He had a liberal education by the standards of his age and learned French, German and Latin. He showed a special interest in history and astrology. A cleric from Wrocław, Nicholas, taught him the basic principles of Christian faith. However, Louis's religious zeal was due to his mother's influence. In a royal charter, Louis remembered that in his childhood, a knight of the royal court, Peter Porus, often carried him on his shoulders. His 2 tutors, Nicholas Drugeth and Nicholas Nijij, saved the lives of both Louis and his younger brother, Andrew, when Felicians attempted to assassinate the royal family in Visegrad on 17 April 1330. Louis was only 9 when he stamped a treaty of alliance between his father and John of Bohemia. A year later, Louis accompanied his father in invading Austria. On 1 March 1338, John of Bohemia's son and heir, Charles, Margrave of Moravia, signed a new treaty with Charles I of Hungary and Louis in Visegrad. According to the treaty, Charles of Moravia acknowledged the right of Charles I's sons to succeed the maternal uncle, Casimir III of Poland, if Casimir died without a male issue. Louis also pledged that he would marry the Margrave's 3-year-old daughter, Margaret. Casimir III's first wife, Aldona of Lithuania, died on 26 May 1339. 2 leading Polish noblemen, Zbigniew, Chancellor of Krakow, and Spisomir Leliwita, persuaded Casimir, who had not fathered a son, to make his sister, Elizabeth, and her offspring his heirs. According to the 15th-century Jan de Lugos, Casimir held a general Sejm in Krakow where the assembled prelates and nobles proclaimed Louis as Casimir's heir, but the reference to the Sejm is anachronistic. Historian Paul W. Knoll writes that Casimir preferred his sister's family to his own daughter's or a member of a cadet branch of the Piast dynasty, because he wanted to ensure the King of Hungary's support against the Teutonic Knights. Louis's father and uncle signed a treaty in Visegrad in July whereby Casimir III made Louis his heir if he died without a son. In exchange, Charles I pledged that Louis would reoccupy Pomerania and other Polish lands lost to the Teutonic Order without Polish funds and would only employ Poles in the royal administration in Poland. Louis received the title of Duke of Transylvania from his father in 1339, but he did not administer the province. According to a royal charter from the same year, Louis's bride, Margaret of Bohemia, lived in the Hungarian royal court. Louis's separate ducal court was first mentioned in a royal charter of 1340.